As we at the end of the day, all in a day of the life of yours truly, Jesse T. That's me. I was driving, working in an area that I grew up in, and dropping my flyers and promo things off at houses. I got a couple of more streets to do, but I drove by the junior high school I went to, and the gate was open, so I had to come in here. My goodness gracious. This is like nostalgia. This was 1974. I was 14 years old, Byrd Junior High School in Sun Valley. And I'll give you a pan here. It was always a beautiful school. It was sort of new when I went here. It was only about 15 years old at the time. It's much older now, but it was only 15. Sun Valley Junior High School was the oldest high school in the area. It went back to the 1940s. But this was a newer high school, junior high school, Byrd Junior High School. And when we were kids, I lived just a few blocks away from here. The original Jesse T compound of Grandpa T and Grandma T and little Jesse T, that's me, used to ride our bicycles in here. And we'd play bicycle tag. Fat Michael and all the gang. See how it kind of comes down, goes uphill, and you have little whoop-de-doos over here that you could go over. And we would play bicycle tag. And we'd start here in this grassy area, and then we would take off and try to catch each other. Someone was it, and everybody would take off, and then that it person had to touch somebody. So it was bicycle tag and hide and seek. And we would be on our bicycles hiding here. And like maybe Fat Michael would be driving by me. He'd see me. I'd take off. He'd turn around and he'd tag me on the shirt or the bike or whatever. And I was it. And we kept going. He kept going. He usually hit his brakes or something. And I had to find the 4 or 5 other guys and play with them. And it got so wild, bicycle tag, that oftentimes we would be coming down these halls full speed on bicycles, and I would see somebody hiding like right here, right? And he knew I would see him, so he would dart out over here and ride down these areas. This is where all the shops were. They don't have that anymore. LA Unified School District shops, wood shop, metal shop, electric shop, motor shop, print shop. They don't have any of that anymore. And I had to touch him, and if I couldn't touch him, I had to touch him somehow. My hands, crash into him, kick him, whatever. And oftentimes you touch somebody and they lose control of their bike and they crash into the lockers. or go right into the post or off into the trash can or something. Oh man, that was so much fun. And one time I was trying to get away from Charlie, and Charlie got me. And you see that yellow trash can over there? He got me, man. There was a big trash can, and metal trash cans. I crashed into that metal trash can. My bike went flying, and I went like shoulder and head first into it, man. It was like crazy. Totally smashed the trash can. We freaked out and we went home. There were no cameras then in those days. But this is where we graduated. I have a picture of Grandpa T and Grandma T out here, and graduating from junior high school was called then. We didn't care middle school, politically correct crap. It was junior high school. We weren't junior to anybody, but it was junior high school in 3 years. It was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade, not this 4-year stuff. I've always argued against that. But we graduated there, and we were up there and got our diplomas. But this was Byrd Junior High. So that's one of the many stories. And as we got older, we used to climb up on the roofs here, and these roofs are all interconnected through this whole school. And we would hide it from each other on the roofs with water balloons or eggs or something, and we'd throw them down at each other. Oh my goodness. I had so much fun. So anyhow, this was one of the hallways. I failed an algebra class here, my Algebra 1 class, and I had to take it again at night. They had night school for adults here, and I had to take it at night, and I finally passed it with a C. But look at these hallways. I mean, I can't tell you, folks, the memories that this brings back to me. If you can imagine 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids playing in here. This was like one of our playgrounds. Bird Junior High School. Hey, what do you want to do? Summer or whatever. Hey, let's go to the Bird. Let's go over the Bird and let's go play bicycle stick, hide and go seek. Let's play football over there in the middle of the grassy area or the big grass field, huge grass field. And we always tried to pick these locks. This is what we always tried to do. And these are the original locks. They don't use them anymore. Nobody uses lockers anymore. They outlawed that in the 80s for LA Unified School District because people would keep drugs and weapons in there. But look you see the whoop-de-doo right here? Just great. And I knew every place in this place to hide. And this was like one of our playgrounds for the neighborhood kids around here. We had so much fun here. And the gymnasium was always open. So a lot of the Japanese kids were the best basketball players because only Asians that were here were Japanese people that originally owned the original Japanese farms up in this area. This is the library right here. I spent a lot of time in the library. I was one of the few guys that did because, I like reading books. In fact, I still have a few books from the library. I still have a few books from this library in my library at home. I failed to bring them back. Oh, well. So just different classrooms. We didn't have these metal fences that they have on here when we were kids. But look at this. You see how high this is compared to down there? And you could get going on your bicycle. We didn't have all these railings, too. All these railings. Railings everywhere. All these railings. I mean, there wasn't any of this step and railing stuff. It was just easy. Oh, we would get going down here a mile a minute. It was just terrific. And we'd come down here racing our bicycles. And we had a lot of fun here at Bird Junior High School. I got here in 9th grade. I went to Village Christian in Sun Valley here. And the reason why I went into the public school is because they had better sports than private schools then. And so I wanted to go to Poly High School, which I've walked you through before. And I had to get involved, so I came here. This school is only 2 blocks away from where I grew up, here in Sun Valley. And so I came here. I was always dressed to the finest. Boots, never wore sneakers, always had slacks on, shiny shoes, nice shirt, maybe a vest, a sweater, or something like that. And when I got here, boy, I got in a lot of fights here. I must have had 20 fights here, 30 fights here in the alleys around the school here, because I was the new guy for a lot of guys, and they were jealous because I talked to all the girls, and I didn't kind of hang out with the Chicanos like the Mexican, the Chicano Hall. Chicano Hall was way down there where I kind of started from. That was known as Chicano Hall. That's where the Chicanos hanged out. And there were no black people here. Maybe, I can't remember a black person. All white people and Chicanos. Not a lot of Mexicans. But this is the main drag. And I used to walk in from this entrance here. This is where the principal's office. And I spent many a time in the principal's office. But I got really good grades. And I was one of their best athletes. And they just loved me. I was always very respectful. But we used to come down here. I'll tell you a story. I was really good at signatures. And so I learned how to assign the principal's signature and the dean's or the lead counselor's signature. God, I'm taking a drink from the faucet at Bird Junior High School. That just blows me away. Wow. Wow. anyhow, so I would sell, if anybody was late to class or whatever, they would come to me, and I could sign the principal's name perfectly, and I would sell those signatures for like 50 cents a signature, right? We had a lot of money. Used to throw craps in the hall, in the bathrooms, right? But we weren't really allowed to go on this grassy area during the middle of the day. At lunchtime we could go here, but we weren't allowed to walk across it to cut across the classrooms. We had to stay on the sidewalk. You can see they have it all taped off now because they had the same problem. So many kids walking on the grass. Used to be a building here, another structure here, and oh, I got so many stories. So many stories. But I'll tell you one story, and I'm gonna walk over here to this locker room area. These lockers. Yeah, we had lockers. I got smart. I didn't like carrying my books. There was no such things as backpacks. So I got smart. So what I did is I had lockers by every one of my classes. So I never had to carry my books. And they were always with the girls. I always had lockers with the girls, and they'd give me their combination. I'd give them mine. But this was my locker, my 9th grade year, where this was one that was given to me when I came in here. And right here, I'll show it to you. I'll see if I can still remember it. It's right here in this building, attached to this building right here. There used to be another building right here that came out. Actually, there was one more building right here that used to come out. But my locker, this was right by the boys' bathroom, right there, by the boys' bathroom. Let me see. Upper lockers were the ones they have. Right here. Here it is. This is my locker. Right here. 59. I remember that because 59, it was easy to remember. I was born in 1960, so it was easy for me to remember. And so one day, I'm here doing my locker, right? Doing my locker. Guys are over here, guys over here. And I turn around, and there's this big, tall guy, Damien Wallbacker. He had these really sharp teeth, bad teeth, like vampires. He was like 6'3" in 9th grade. And he was Mark Wallenberg's henchman. And Mark was the guy who kind of dealt the drugs around the school at the time. Really great athlete, good shape, but he was like just not a good guy. I eventually got in a fight with him. But he sent his henchmen after me because I was hitting on his girlfriend. I didn't know it was girlfriend. I was hitting on every girl. I wasn't hitting on anybody. They were hitting on me. I never rolled with the socials or the drugs or the Chicanos. I just was me, Jesse T, just like I am now, you know? And so I'm sitting there at 59, doing my locker, and I open it up, and all of a sudden, bam, my locker gets slammed. And I just got my hands out of it. And I turn around, and Damien circles back over here behind me, right behind me over here, and I'm standing here looking at him like this. Big, tall guy. Now, I was maybe, in 9th grade, I was about 170 pounds. I was 5'10". I'm 6 foot now. I grew 2 inches between 9th grade and my freshman year of college. But, so Damien's sitting there, big, tall guy. Everybody knew he was a tough guy. So he said, all right, man, you know, you think you're something. You come over here. You think you're really tough. You think I was talking to all the girls. Who do you think you are? Blah, 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 right? He had long, stringy hair. Big guy, maybe 220 pounds. So I look up at him, and I said, he goes, man, I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass. And I said, I looked at him, and I said, so I had my books in my hand. I'm going to kick your ass, man. Yeah, fuck you, and all this stuff. And so I looked at him, and I said, he's not starting to put his hands on me. So I threw my books at him, and as I threw my books at his head, I hit him, boom, with a straight right hand, right square in the nose. Because remember, I had boxed up to that time since I was 6 years old. So I just, boom, hit him with a right straight hand. He drops to the ground, and I jump on him, and I hit him with a left, and I kick him with my foot right in the side here. I kick him with my foot, hit with my left, and kick him with a foot, a knee kind of foot kick, right? And he's on the ground, and I jump on him, and now you know he's recovering a little bit, but he's bloody nose and everything. And then he goes, oh, man, and then people pulled me off because you know, teachers were coming or whatever. The crowd got real fast, and you know, I picked him up, and he got up actually by himself, but and I said, now look, man, if you want to continue this, let's go to the alley after school. There was an alley over here where all the fights took place, and there's fighting alley. We call it the Fighters Alley, and you know, he fuck you, yeah, I'll get you, right. So later on in the day, I go about, everybody's like, man, you hit Damien, you hit Big Damien. Man, you knocked him. Man, who are you? Man, you box or you fight? Yeah, you know, I said, you know, and so anyway, I go about my way. Never saw a teacher, security, never saw a principal, nobody ever complained. And so the end of the day, Damien and I meet before school ends, and he looks at me and goes, man, no one's ever done that to me. No one's ever hit me like that. I said, look, man, you know, I apologized to him. And I said, you know, I'm sorry. I really am sorry. And, you know, we became best friends. Best friends. And he said, I got your back anytime. I said, look, man, anything ever happens, I got your back. And we became best friends through my 9th grade year. He played football with me at Poly High School. Through high school, best friends, man. And then on after, and I kept in touch with him. He, all the way up into the late 80s, I would keep in touch with him from time to time. Became a successful contractor and an inspector for a city and all that stuff. But anyhow, that was one story there that I thought was fun. Great guy, nice man, really nice guy, Damien Wallbecker. This is like a meeting room auditorium. They used to do the elections in here for the area where you go vote. This is the cafeteria area where we used to come for nutrition and lunch, right here. And we go in there and we get our tray of food and we come out here. I always sat in one place only. And even when I was in high school, I had one place that I sat. And it wasn't crossing around with the other guys. I don't know, I've always been such an independent soul, you know? I've always been the guy that's been an independent soul. This is where you could buy the candy and the t-shirts and stuff and all that kind of fun stuff. But over here is the cafeteria area. So I always, even in junior high school, I'll show you right where I used to sit. Now these trees right here weren't here. This was open, and this big building wasn't here. It was open all the way. I'd sit right here. That's exactly where I would sit. Right here. I always would sit right here. Why would I sit right here? This was open to the basketball and the playground area, and the gymnasium was over there, and I would sit right here looking, and I would sit over here looking, and it was a few of these trees. That tree was here. These younger trees weren't. They cut down a few big trees. There was a shady tree here that was good shade, and I used to sit right here and eat my nutrition and lunch. And also, it was right by the water faucet. We drank water faucets, water out of water faucets. Yeah, we didn't drink Coca-Cola or something. We drank water. And it was always a nice breeze like there is right here. Wow. Major memories. Hasn't changed at all. Bird Junior High School. This is now a high school. It's called Sun Valley High School. And they built a new Bird Junior High School somewhere else. You see, you see this open spots like that? That's how we used to get our food. There was none of this metal mesh fencing. These were all areas out these where people would line up and get their tray of food. That's how it was. In high school, we got to order. You know, we had a selection. But in junior high school, we didn't have much of a selection. You ate what was put down for you. And it was all good. If you didn't like something, somebody else had something, you know, you try to trade something like that. You really got the chance when I was growing up, to learn your communication skills. You really got the chance to talk. You really got the chance to negotiate. You got the chance to do all that stuff when I was growing up. And have a relationship with your schoolmates and your teachers and stuff. And you could talk and, you know, and a lot of the neighborhood kids around here, so I knew a lot of them. And they were all surprised to see me here at Bird. But I had to come here so I could get recognized going into Poly High School. So this was the shop area. This is where all the shops were. We had wood shop. We had metal shop. Let me see. Wood shop. What is this? General Service Lab. This was wood shop. This big building was wood shop. And then we had metal shop was right here. This was metal shop. You don't do that anymore. And then we had electrical shop right here. Right here was electric shop. Over there were just more classrooms. Those are just more classrooms. Electric shop right here. And these buildings here, this was the maintenance for the maintenance people. Now I'm going to an area that I used to try to frequent all the time. Oh man, this was my spot, man. Right here. Right here. Right here. You know why this was my spot? Because whenever I wanted to make out with a girl, I'd come right here. And this little nook and cranny right here would be the spot. Squeeze in right here, just like this. Just right about here. Wow. No one could see me. It was cool. Wow. Does that bring back some memories? Hey, you're 14 years old, you know, you learn how to make out with girls and kiss them and all that stuff. Man, they don't use lockers anymore. Lockers is just unsafe. It's just a shame. I think that was really a great part of being in school in my generation. We had our own lockers. And you felt like that, you know, it was like private. You felt good about it. But you had your own locker, you know. It gave you a sense of pride, a sense of growing up, and you always try to keep your locker organized and clean. And if you were smart like me, you had lockers everywhere because you hated to carry your books. Once again, we didn't have backpacks. We didn't have that stuff. So you had to carry your books, and I hated that. So I had lockers everywhere. So I was like one of the few guys that carried books. Never had a book in my hand while I was in school. I was always at the locker. The locker was right there. And what I would do for people, I'd like be the girl's protection, right? Hey, all the lockers I shared were the smart guys, which were all the Japanese guys, and the girls. Come on, Jesse T's working the magic, baby. Always, right? Looking for the angle of success. So all the girls, if they needed some extra money, you know, quarter, 50 cents, $1, that's a lot of money to us then. You know, I always would buy them their lunch. I never wanted anything in return, but I sure got to know every girl in this school and in high school, and some I got to know a little better than others. And the guys, you know, I never cheated on tests or anything like that. No, I just changed the rules of the game. I never cheated. I just changed the rules. Okay? Hey, the world according to Jesse T. What can I tell you, man? This stuff I talk about on the Jesse T show, this stuff goes back through my whole life. I'm just not making it up as I go. It's like, you know, this goes back. And so all the Japanese guys and girls were my friends, and they were all the A students. So if I ever needed a tutor, I could walk over to their house and get some help, or And if anybody was ever picking on them, I told them to come to me and I would take care of that problem. And several times during my 9th grade year, more than several times, 3 or 4 times, they were being picked on, bullied. You call it bullying today. We just call it, getting picked on. Everybody got picked on. But they came over to me and I said, okay, who did that? All right, I'll talk to them. And I'd go have a heart-to-heart discussion with most of them. And all of them, actually, and they never picked on my guys again. Hey, I don't know. There was one guy who used to smoke a lot of PCP. We called him Crazy Joe. And I had to fight him over in the Fighters Alley. And nobody fought Crazy Joe because he was on PCP. And you know what PCP does to you? Makes you super strong like a superhero, but it kills your brain, it fries it, your nervous system. And his older brother was PCP, and his older brother than that was a gang member. We didn't have a lot of gangs. They were around, but it wasn't like it is today. Usually when dudes had problems, they would solve themselves one-on-one. Maybe 1 on 2. No guns ever. Maybe the worst thing was a knife, and that was very, very rare. But trash cans, some wood, a chain, pipe, whatever. That stuff was there. But so I had to fight Crazy Joe in the alley, in the Fighters Alley, and he threw some karate stand at me, and I just said, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" So he comes at me, and I punch him. I give him a right-left combination. I drop him. I jump on him. I start, banging his head into the asphalt of the alley. And his crazy brother, who was on PCP too, he was at Poly High School, he was a senior. He goes to hit me in the head with a tire jack. And we didn't see it. And this guy's named Dan Sickler. Dan Sickler, who was kicked out of Pacoima Junior High School, came here. And Dan Sickler hit him with a trash can before he could hit me with his jack stand. Old school jack stand. You know how big those things are and heavy? I would have for sure been killed. And knocked him down, and he said, "We got to go." So, I got off Crazy Joe, and we went all the way to my house. And then I woke my dad up, because he worked at 20th Century Fox. We skinned off all the secret hiding places that I knew. And we got to my house, and I accidentally woke my dad up, and then I had to tell him the story. And he said, okay, so he went out in the garage, got his clothes on, went out in the garage, comes back in, gives me a baseball bat, gives Dan Sickler a chain, and my dad has a bat. So I had to plug into the car. So my dad has this little blackjack, about 9 inches. And we get in the 1970 Toronado, the Jolly Green Giant, we called it, and we drive 10 blocks back to the Fighters Alley, and all I could do was pray to every god, every spirit, Buddha, Jehovah. I didn't know about Islam then. Christ, Lord, the Hindi prophets, the Indian spiritual groups, that nobody be there, because my father was not the kind of guy that you hurt his only son, his only child. And my father grew up in the streets of Chicago. I mean, he was running numbers when he was 6 years old. It was the Italians, and he ran the Waiters Union when he was 19, 20 years old. I mean, they were going to put him through law school in Chicago University. He was going to become a labor law attorney for the outfit. But that's a whole nother story. But he wasn't the kind of guy that he just wasn't that kind of guy. So we get there, and my friend Jerry Baca, Dan Sickler's in the car with me. My friend Jerry Baca, my dad gets out and says, "Jerry, where are the guys?" And Jerry was a street kid. Jerry was a tough kid. Jerry and I never got in a fight. He was a tough guy. Jerry Baca had been kicked out of Sun Valley, been kicked out of Pacoima for fighting. Jerry was a tough street kid. If you know what I mean, street kid. He was tough. He ended up going to prison. the Marines, and then ended up going to prison, and then almost getting his head cut off in a bad car accident. And but he was a tough kid. Could have been a great football player, but he quit after his freshman year playing ball. Anyway, so I don't know, for whatever reasons, we respected each other. We never got in a fight. He tried to challenge me one time, and I just, said what I had to say. But, he knew better. These people knew that they just didn't know about me much. They didn't know quite about me. That was really one of my assets. Not that I was really super tough or whatever. They weren't sure about me. Anyhow, so he has enough intelligence there, and he tells my dad, oh, they went that way. And so we went that way, and we traversed the neighborhood for 2 hours looking for these guys. Man. And what I didn't know, and what Jerry told me the next day at school, was, I told your dad they went that way, they went the other way. I said, thank you, Jerry. Jerry was one of my good buddies. Jerry saved my life. Jerry Baca saved my life. Literally, that's another story. But if it wasn't for Jerry Baca, I wouldn't be here. He actually came back to help me get away from bikers. I'll tell you that other story. But he came back while our other two partners were running so fast ahead. Yeah, so Jerry saved my life. And forever to this day, even as I am 58 years old and he's my age, if he ever called me and reached out to me and could find me and needed some help, I'd help him. I have an obligation to always be there for him. He saved my life. So anyway, so here at Byrd Junior High School, we learned a lot about life. And so I would help the smart guys, and if I needed some extra help in class, they would help me with my projects and whatever. So that's kind of where I learned the art of negotiation. The art of the deal, baby. Lots of good memories here at Byrd. And I can tell you so much more. But hey, the Jesse T Show, reminiscing as we road trip this afternoon on the Jesse T Show. Had to stop off at my junior high school, Byrd Junior High School, and just walk through here. Wow. What a great school and a great time and a lot of great lessons. How fun was it? Fun. Just fun. My friends, live your memories today. You're making your memories for the future of your life. When you're old and you look back, because you don't have much time to look forward, and you're living in the present because there is not much future for you, your memories will take precedence in your mind. And your memories are made out of your activities today. So make your activities wonderful and happy and smiley and positive and serious and tough. But live today in a way that when you're older, your memories will warm your heart. Love you guys. The Jesse T Show. See ya.